All right, so now here comes the fun part, where we start to put our artwork in the gallery space. So let's look at our layers here. We can turn off a bunch of stuff. Let's turn off exterior ceiling, exterior walls, exterior, Voronoi. I'm gonna leave walls on, path can go, glass can go, glass can go, ceiling can go. And this is just our interior walls and our floor. Yeah, so I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to title it actually one of my artwork's names. I'm going to call it World as Will. Okay, make it active, and I'm going to make it a new color here. How about purple? Actually, you know what? Let's make it a similar color to what the actual piece is. Let's do like a blue, like a turquoise or cayenne. Yeah, cayenne's good. Okay, so then I got to start thinking about layout. So I'm going to be doing two really large sculptures, even though I don't have any really large sculptures. I'm just going to blow them up because I can do that. I would love to do that someday and actually have them take up some space inside of a gallery more than just on a pedestal. I'm going to do a bunch of them on a pedestal as well. I'm going to do some paintings. And I just need to pick locations. I want kind of the showstopper pieces to be maybe the end of the hall here. So I'm going to pick my favorite pieces to put right around here. Pieces that are not quite as necessary or large, I want on smaller walls. I think I'm going to put the World as Will piece right here, actually. So let's pull up my website here. I'm lucky enough that my website has all of my paintings and pieces. I'm going to also do this one just to show you all how to make frames and stuff. It should be pretty cool. So these are some of my paintings. And the World as Will isn't necessarily my favorite, but it's a huge painting, which I think means that it needs to be on a large wall. And that piece is right here. Okay, so it is 72 by 96. So it's 72 inches tall by 96 inches wide. So I'm going to put it on this wall. How do I do that? I'm going to first set my C-plane to that wall. Switch into shaded here so we can see it like that. And now you can see my construction plane is that wall. Great. So the next step is to go ahead and figure out where I'm going to place it. Now, rule of thumb for art galleries is, and I would hope that you all abide by this. I have students who put artwork like near the damn ceiling. I don't want to see that. So let's go ahead and draw a line from our endpoint here, vertical, and I'm going to just go ahead and turn ortho on, just so I don't have to keep holding shift. So ortho now locks me in this way, and I'm going to do, I'm in actually in meters right now, but if I do 60 with a quote, it will give me 60 inches. And so that endpoint is right at 60 inches. And then if I hit click, that'll stop it there. And then I'm going to draw a line straight across the wall. There to there. Okay, so that's going to be the center point of my object. So now I'm going to draw a rectangle, and I'm just going to do it anywhere here. Go 72 inches, enter, by 98, was it? 98? Let's see, I should remember this, right? 96. 96 inches, enter. Then it drew this way, that's fine. Just rotate. There we go. Go down. And I'm going to find a way to center it. And the easiest way to do that is actually to draw a line down the middle. Find my midpoint to my midpoint. Get rid of my near here so it's not going all over the place. It's like this, and move, command, enter, midpoint there, and midpoint there. So that gives me a perfectly centered on the wall, 60 inches off of the ground to the center line of the object, and I'm going to actually put all of my art at that same center line. Okay, so next step is to take my curve here and extrude curve. And this one, the canvas is actually 3 inches thick. So 3, quote, enter. All right, so that is my world as well piece. Other thing I might want to do is move it off the wall an 1/8 of an inch, so there's a little bit of like a back shadow to it. It doesn't look like it's like attached to the wall. So move it 1/8 inch, enter, and it's just a little movement there. I'm going to go ahead now and isolate that so that I can get around behind it here. Extract surface, click that, enter, and delete. So it's hollow behind it. Again, same thing we talked about earlier. You don't need extra planes that you're not going to see. And then I'm going to join it together. And that's it. So that is my first piece there. And I will handle the artwork portion of it when I bring it into Blender later. So that is that. And then, like I mentioned, I want to go ahead and do those little pieces that I actually just put on maybe this wall right here. Those pieces will also have a frame on them. They've got a floater frame. So if you wanted to do like a floater frame on your objects, I'm going to show you that. Then I'm going to bring some sculpture in as well, and that'll be it. I'll kind of just finish the rest of it on my own so you know how to do each piece. Again, I'm going to do a line from, or I can even just move this. Like if I move that, because I don't need that anymore, from this endpoint here to this endpoint right there, I've got a 60-inch uncentered line right there. And then I can just kind of pull that dot to the perpendicular there so it does go all the way there. That's good. And I can draw those all the way around the space just to make sure I'm constantly being consistent. Okay, so back to our handy dandy website that has all of my sizes on it. And I'm going to do all of these pieces in my gallery space. More tricky ones are these angled ones because I don't know the exact angle, but I'll make it work eventually. Okay, Solastalgia is 4 pieces, and they're 14 by 11, and that would be, I believe, the size of the artwork on the inside, not the frames. I've got them hanging in my studio. I might have to measure them, but I'm going to just do it based on that size. So 11 by 14. So move my construction plane to this object. So now I can draw on that, and I might as well do this side too at the same time because I've already got a construction plane. I'm going to actually measure real quick. Okay, so the overall size with the frame is about 17 by 14, and then we're going to go ahead and just, I just made a rectangle that size. Let's offset 1.25, enter, oops, 1.25 inches, quote. Okay, and then I'm going to offset again, 0.75 inches, okay. And so I'm basically, this is the artwork, and then there's the frame there. So, in order to make the frame is actually about 1.5 inches, so I'm going to extrude curve 1.5 inches. Oops. 1.5 inches, okay. And then I'm going to extrude this part curve, extrude that part, and I'm going to go 0.25 inches for 0.25 inches. Okay, now see, this is telling me my tolerance setting of 0.01 is not, so that's less than 0.01 meters. Whoop-de-doo, let's go up here and actually change my tolerances. So I believe it's under properties and units and tolerance. I'll add another 0 there. Okay, so now I should be able to do that. Extrude curve 0.25 inches. All right, and for some reason it did go back in space. Zoom selected, Z, enter, S, enter while selecting the object allows for a zoom selected, which helps. Move, grab this point to that point. Okay. And then our object in the middle, I'm going to cut this out with to my clipboard here, so I can just do that and move this 0.25 inches that direction. So it's, and then Control V to bring that back. So now I should have that curve right on the surface there. And the thickness of my canvas is 0.75. So extrude this curve 0.75 inches. Perfect. So that is going to give us everything we need. And then we can Boolean union it all together to one piece. Create a new layer. And I'm going to call this one Solace. Just call it Solace. Change object layer and change the color of it here to, how about a sea green? There we go. And then again, I want to isolate it. Look at the back here. Merge all coplanar faces real quick. That gets rid of that. Then I'm going to extract surface. Click on the surface, enter, and delete. So now it's just hollow from behind, one less surface to deal with, and it's beautiful. Now let's go ahead and right click, bring everything back. And the good news is I just have to copy that. So I'm going to copy this from here to there. And then I'll copy it again. 2 more times, there we go. And then I want a gap of about maybe 3 inches between them. So I'll move this over, -3 inches, this and this, -3 inches, and this and this, 3 inches. Oops, I didn't need to move you. -3 inches. There we go. So now I've got 4 canvases there. And I could keep them on separate layers, actually. Just, I mean, I could have them all on one layer, but that would mean all of the images would be on different layers. So let's see, what would be the easiest way? Yeah, just leave them like that. They're small enough. I could just do a larger material in Blender and have it work. And I'm going to bring these off the wall. 0.125 inches. Just to give it a little, you'll see if I look at it in rendered here, you can see that it gives it a little bit of a gap off the wall, makes it look a little bit more imperfect. Remember, imperfection is perfection. So that's how you can create frames. I mean, of course, you could fillet edges as well, chamfer them to make it look a little bit less modern and rigid. But I like my rigid modernity. So next up, I'm going to start bringing in some sculpture. So the sculpture that I'm going to bring in is a newer sculpture. So I've got it in Rhino already, and you can think about this for your packaging design as well. You might even just skip this part and use Blender and just copy and paste it into Blender when you're doing if you're doing your packaging design, because all of your materials and everything are already on there. But if you do want to have a version of your gallery entirely in Rhino as well, you can actually export from Blender your packaging design project and bring it in. Maybe I'll show how to do that. I'll bring the owl in real quick here just to show you. So if I go to my owl Blender here, if it's on my computer in the same spot, it'll find it. Oh, it's not there. Open. Let me find where it is. Okay, so let's look at it real quick here. So yeah, if I want to bring this whole deal back in, I can just select all of our objects here. And we actually just go here and make sure I grab all this, except for I do not want the studio. Cool. And I'm in modeling. Why am I not seeing it? I don't know, but select. Is it locked or what? I don't know. It's showing that it's selected, but it doesn't look like it. Okay. Go to export, and I'll export it as an FBX file, actually. And I'll go ahead and put it on my desktop in my workshop 3. Yep, in here. Okay. And I'm just going to shove it right there. And I want to make sure I'm only doing the meshes. Just mesh. Okay. Export. And then let's go File, Import. And see how this looks. Okay. Cool. See? And it even brings it in with materials because it's all UV wrapped and everything. So yeah, that works really easily to bring in your owl. Okay, so that's for packaging design stuff. And that's the joy of Blender. We did it all right. So therefore, you know, you've got that accessibility of your objects just being all wrapped up perfectly, and it can just travel between softwares. So great. But I don't want the owl. As much as I like the owl, it's unnecessary. So I'm actually going to bring in some sculpture from one of my other projects here. Let's go to my sculpture folder. Okay, so in here, this is one of my more recent ones. And then I got to change units here before I do bring it in. So properties, units, make sure I'm in meters. I don't know why I never see it, but there it is. Okay, yes. Zoom selected, Control C, and then Control V. Oops. Okay. Move, enter, right there. I'm going to grab it and put it right on the midpoint there. And the reason why I'm doing it this way, like grab it to the midpoint, snap it to the end. So that's how I snap it to the floor. And then I just move it back this way, and move it back this way. All right. And then again, I don't want to put any materials in here. I've got all of these random materials that came in from the owl. I'm just going to delete them. Delete. Yes. Okay. So now I've got my first sculpture in. Cool. So that's importing sculpture, making canvases, making frames in Rhino. I'm going to bring in more sculptures. I'm actually going to bring in one of my sculptures and blow it up and put it really large in the rotunda here. Let's do that real quick. So I'm going to find that sculpture. I don't know where it is for sure, but hopefully I can find it someplace here. All right, so this one is one that I still don't even know what color this is yet, as far as I haven't picked the actual color. Right now it's about this tone. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, this is going to be one I'm going to bring in. So let's go File. Switch it over to Shaded here. And then go to Properties. And under Properties here, I'm going to change my units to meters. Okay, this one. Control C, just to copy it, and then bring it over to our other one. Control V. Scale, enter, select a base point, which I think right about there. And then this is kind of like the displacement. You know, how quick do you want it to go big? If you pull it way out here, it doesn't go big as quick. But you'll see if I want to make it go big quick, make this little line shorter, I click it, and then if I, oops, rotate around, drag it out, it gets big real quick. So that's like my Richard Serra type large sculpture. It'll be in the back of the room here. I don't know for sure. Got to make sure it's not too big to walk around. Yeah, let's scale it again. And I'll pull it out further here. Just kind of tuck it down a little bit. Cool. So now I got that big old sculpture right there. And I'll go to a top view here just to line it up. So yeah, you can see I'm going to just keep playing around now, adding my artwork to the gallery space, and you can pretty much comprehend what I'm up to. And yeah, so I'll come back to you once I've got all of my art in the space and I'm ready to bring it back into Blender and add the materials to it through the UV mapping. Cool, thank you.